Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. This is going to be me and Surreal, both playing as the vampire accounts, and we are fighting against two Imperial players. Let me pause here. It has been a couple minutes since this game has started, but nothing has happened other than just moving. The fight is about to start, which is why I'm beginning here. So for my army, I have three fell bats over this forest trying to scout out the enemy army position. I also have a Vargeist and then the renowned Vargeist, which is making its way over here currently. The Devils of Schwarzenhofen. Yeah, those things. Then I have 6 skeletal warriors backed up by 3 corpse carts with the unholy lodestone. We also have 2 necromancers mixed in here. We also have 2 cryptors. Yeah, we have 2 cryptors. The Strigoi Ghoul King mounted on his Terrorgeist. He can also summon a cryptor, which he will be doing later. I think that's it for me. Then for Surreal, we have multiple zombie line, 3 cryptors, a couple necromancers mounted on the corpse carts. We also have the Strigoi Ghoul King, but unmounted. And then he took the Sternsman, which is the renowned Graveguard. Over in the forest, we have 2 Blood Knights, and behind them is a pack of the Dire Pack, which are the anti-large Dire Wolves. And then he also brought 2 Fellbats. I kind of wish they had a Fellbat renowned, because I'm kind of curious what they would do with that, because Fellbats, for the most part, are just kind of meh. But here we are using them, giving them another try. For the enemy, we have Volkmar the Grim mounted on his War Altar. We have a Bright Wizard out here, 2 Halberdiers, 8 Greatswords. I think, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 8 great swords, and that's that player. Over here we have a long line of spears, backed up by a long line of flagellants. Then we have 2 Imperial Captains, 3 Knights of the Blazing Sun, where are you? Silver Bullet, which is the renowned handgunners, and then the Arch Lector mounted on a warhorse, I believe. Yeah, mounted on a warhorse, and that is going to be this player's army. 3 Blazing Sun Knights is a lot. Alright, so here we go. We've just been kind of getting into position through most of this army, or this battle. I wanted to pull the human players out of their position to try and get them to fight out here in the open, because we have a bunch of large creatures, but they refused to move. They just were not moving at all. They don't even have any artillery, so I don't know why, but they liked their line. So we're like, okay, I'm just going to eventually march towards them. Right here, I'm going to be bringing the Strigoi Ghoul King and our flyers out here on the hill. I'm not sure why the enemy brought their leaders out here on their own, but we're going to start attacking their Bright Wizard over here with the Fellbats. And then we're going to be bringing in the Strigoi Ghoul King, who's flying over here. The rest of my army is trying to get into position. Meanwhile, this Bright Wizard's just handling these bats. Here comes the Strigoi Ghoul King. There goes a buff from Volkmar. I think this is his AoE attack spell and magic resistance. Yeah. That's going to do some damage. The Strigoi Ghoul King is here. There goes the banishment spell, but it doesn't hit me, really. But it's free, as long as you pick it up on the War Altar, so all you got to do is wait for the cooldown. Doesn't actually take winds of magic. So yeah, we're just still fighting that guy. Then over here, what's going to happen is that I think if this player advances with their spearmen. You can see they're already engaged with Cyril over here. And I have this entire group in a locked control group, so I can just move them up easier and they stay in formation. And when I think I have 1 skeletal warrior selected to attack the spearmen, I actually have the group, so they're all going to go over here, which totally destroys my formation, and then I have to spend time to try and get it back and engage this greatsword line. It's kind of a blunder, but that's what's going to be happening over there in just a short amount of time. Meanwhile, we're still just trying to kill this Bright Wizard. And unfortunately right here, I was looking over my army, so I was hoping that the Bright Wizard was going to be killed, because I gave the attack order, but then I think we just kind of got stopped, and then the Strigoi's attention was drawn to Volkmar, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to finish this Bright Wizard, but I thought he was dead, because right now I'm over here looking at our army, seeing these people come in. And it's about right here where I'm going to be clicking just the attack order. There it is. You see all those red lines? And it was at this point I'm like, oh my god, no. Oh my god, no. Because it's disrupting my whole formation. And so now I'm just going to kind of try to get skeletal warriors over here. It's a mess. And then I come back over here to realize that my Strigoi Ghoul King has been charged by Halberdiers out of the forest. And so I'm going to try and get out of that situation. Meanwhile, we have a fight with some spearmen over here. We have a bunch of skeletal warriors, a corpse card buffing them with the unholy lodestone. I'm trying to pull out our crypt horrors to fight the great swords that are nearby. We also have a necromancer nearby as well. There goes the invocation of the hex dropped on our units over here. And then the rest of our army is marching towards the giant line of great swordsmen. It's going to be kind of slow going though. There are my Vargeist up here, including the renowned versions. I'm still trying to get the Strigoi Ghoul King out, so you can see he almost died because he got surrounded when I wasn't paying attention. But he is still alive, thankfully. I really hate playing on all forest maps. It's really hard to see what's going on. Obviously not with the Strigoi Ghoul King because he was out in the open. So yeah, those corpse guards, they look kind of cool, you know, body of corpses. Or a pile of corpses. Then over here, we're going to start to slowly engage the greatsword line. I'm trying to get another corpse card up here to buff up our skeletal warriors. There goes a Crypt Ghouls that was summoned by my Strigoi Ghoul King, or Crypt Horrors, I'm sorry. And then our other actual 2 Crypt Horrors we brought. There go in the Vargeists, and then the other ones should be dropping in as well, the renowned ones. Who have even cooler looking hair. They have like double mohawk action going. Look at that. They look so feral. Double mohawk, what? Then these halberdiers, the great swords, there's so many of them, they're going to be wrapping around and surrounding our Crypt Ghouls along with Volkmar the Grim. The Strigoi King is just kind of sitting up here regenerating right now. So many great swords. Get him, skeletons. I think I still have a corpse card on the way. Yeah, there it is. So the corpse card is going to give us +8 melee attack and defense as well as some regeneration, which is why I brought a couple of them to make sure that our entire line of skeletons were going to be stronger than normal. No, Vargeist. So over here, my Crypt Horrors, even though they're pretty good against great swords, there's just so many of them, and now they also have Halberdier support and the support of Volkmar the Grim's buffs, that this is going to be kind of a bad fight for me. So we'll go over here. Not much is going on over here. I'm slowly pulling forces away from this engagement as we are killing off this clump of spearmen that was sent towards us. And now we're just leaving one skeletal warrior that is backed up by a... Actually, I don't even think I'm backing up by a corpse card. I'm pulling everything out. Yeah, there go my other corpse cards up to the main line against these great swordsmen. And they even have more great swordsmen in reserves. So many. Another AoE spell going down from Volkmar the Grim. I forget what the name is, but it's a warrior priest spell. Or ability, I probably should say. We have a fireball trying to finish off our Strigoi Ghoul King. Luckily, it hits the trees. I think it was at that point when I noticed, I was like, oh crap, their fire wizard is actually still alive, and he is... Where is he? Oh, there he is. He's right there. But I thought we had killed him. Because again, I figured the Strigoi King would murder him, but obviously he did not, and I was not paying enough attention. We have some... Oh, I forgot. I have ghouls. I have one unit of Crypt Ghouls. Because I had 500 gold left, so I brought them. And they're now mixed in here against these halberdiers. I totally forgot about them. You can see we have corpse cards mixed in throughout the battlefield to try and buff up our army. We have a Doom and Darkness. I think that... No, wait, no. This is Soul Blight. We have a Soul Blight being dropped by the Strigoi Ghoul King. It's a little late at this point. The thing is, I used most of my Winds of Magic on Invocation of the Hex early on, and I had to wait to get the Soul Blight. So by the time I was even able to cast it, most of our army was already dead. So what I should have done is cast Soul Blight at the very start of this battle, which could have maybe tipped things. And as you can see right now, most of our army has fallen to the massive greatswords and halberdiers and Volkmar the Grim. And we're going to be pulling out the rest of our forces as much as we can. So the 2 necromancers that are still alive, there's 3 corp cards. The Vargeist are going to be pulling out of here. The Strigoi Ghoul King. And we're just going to try and crush this one spearman that is still fighting off our skeletal warrior over here. But yeah, our army, for the most part, got crushed by the just great swords. 8 of them, man. I did not really build to counter a bunch of great swords. I was expecting artillery, which is why I even brought 3 fellbats. But that's not what we fought against. Here we're going to be finishing off these spearmen. Pretty easy. All they needed was just one more charge and then they break. And I'm still trying to pull out our necromancers and corpse carts, but they keep getting stuck on these great swords. But I am giving them move orders to get out of there. Because we are going to withdraw to Surreal's position, whose fight is actually still going on with the other opponent. But I'm going to try and help him over there, and then we'll pull together to try and defeat all these great swords. And I keep trying to give these things move order, and they just keep getting stuck. And I'm like, no! Corpse carts, no, why? But yeah, that thing I believe is going to die. We do manage to get our 2 necromancers out of this battle, but the 3 corpse carts are going to fall to the great swords. They just aren't able to get out of their reach. So I'm going to pause it here. My army, for the most part, got crushed by my opponents, and now we're going to see how Surreal battle did, and the end of it as well. Here we have Surreal's army of zombies slowly marching through the forest, backed up by the 2 necromancers on the corpse carts. We have those crypt horrors behind them, and then the 2 blood knights and the dire wolf with the anti-large damage is marching around. They're going to be going after the silver bullet riflemen. Here we go, the spearmen are charging in. Basically, these are like 2 tar pit units just fighting each other right now. Spearmen are kind of like a tar pit unit. They're really cheap. Especially ones without the shields. They're only 300. But more important than that, here come the blood knights descending down upon the hill. Or they should be. Anytime now. There we go. My timing was off. I believe I'm also sending one of my fellbats over here to try and assist with the fight that's about to happen. Dire wolves are going to be leading the charge. And these silver bullets, they are stronger in melee than normal handgunners, but they're not going to be able to withstand blood knights. But here comes the counter charge from the Blazing Sun Knights. Or Knights of the Blazing Sun. And remember, they have 3 of them to Surreal's 2 blood knights. Here comes another flank from these blood knights into the Knights of the Blazing Sun. And then these blood knights are going to get counter-flanked again by another Knights of the Blazing Sun. This is just ridiculous. Charge, counter-charge, charge, counter-charge. But then they also have that 3rd group. Here comes some more flagellants in here as well. And as you saw, well, if you watched my video for the overview, you can see that Blazing Sun Knights, even in just a head-on charge of Blood Knights, they do... Knights of the Blazing Sun, I keep getting the name wrong. They do pretty well on the charge, just because they have such a high charge bonus. It's pretty nuts. Meanwhile, the rest of the flagellants and spearmen are mixing up against the crypt ghoul, horrors and zombies, backed up by those corpse carts. The Strigoi Ghoul King is somewhere around here. I'm not sure where he is. He's somewhere around here. So these Empire captains, remember that their hold the line is now passive. So that means they grant 100% charge resistance to units around them at all times, and a +4 leadership. So a lot of armies that rely on charging, like, I don't know, orcs are pretty good at that. Beastmen are really good at that. All of their charge can possibly be negated by really well-placed Empire captains now against the Empire faction. It's so ridiculous. It's so... Let me tell you how dumb it is. It's pretty dumb. I still don't understand why they made that change. You gave the Empire potential expert charge defense on anything. Anyway. It's just the Empire is so strong. But over here we have some continued fighting with the Blood Knights and the remaining Knights of the Blazing Sun. The Dire Wolves, Surreal was telling me, they are really... You saw them doing a lot of damage to those Knights of the Blazing Sun. And they should, I guess. I mean, they all have bonus versus large now. That's kind of the whole purpose of taking them, is to engage a enemy cav or large creature and then send in the Dire Wolves, because they're still pretty weak, so you don't want them to get charged. Weak on the defense, I should say. They have like 0 armor. I think it's 0 armor. The Blood Knights are trying to pull out as best they can. Also, this forest is making my frame rate drop, which is kind of crappy. Stern Guard are over here dealing with the Arch Lector, which is the leader of this opponent. The Arch Lector looks really cool, but is a little misleading, because when he's dual-wielding Warhammers, you're going to think he's very offensive. But no, he's only has like a 30 melee attack. It would look like he had like a 70, you know, and insane weapon damage just dual-wielding those things. But he's not super offensive. He's just more of a supportive leader with some great supportive spells. But yeah, the Strigoi, Ghoul King, and him are just kind of duking it out over here. Meanwhile, the Flagellants and the Spears are still fighting against the Crypt Horrors. I think it was at this point, Surreal was pretty angry at how long Flagellants just hold, and I'm like, well, man, you know, they're unbreakable. They're a pretty good tar pit unit that can also potentially kill your forces. The Flagellants, I think, are pretty good. Like, I've heard people say that they're useless. I disagree. I strongly disagree that they're useless in multiplayer. Flagellants definitely have a place. Meanwhile, back over here, the Fell Bats are still fighting against the Flagellants. The Blood Knights have pulled, trying to get out of the forest, but they kept getting charged by these Knights of the Blazing Sun. You can see the numbers are dwindling a lot. We still have some direwolves nearby, though, that are dealing some damage. Let's get a above, well, it's hard to see an above view because of the forest, but you can see the amount of hit points left here. The, what is this, an Empire Captain is still alive and well. The Blood Knights, I think that was his last one. He still has two Fell Bats over here, some Crypt Horrors over here, the Strigoi Ghoul King, who are taking out the Arch Lector, and then the zombies are still alive over here as well. But yeah, I think his Blood Knights are basically dead. Well, that's the remainder of them anyway. The Stern's Guard, though, these regenerating Grave Guard have done really well so far. They're pretty nice. They're definitely pretty nice. Surreal likes them a lot. Look at him running for his life.
So much death.
I can't remember if they get him or not. Oh, wait, is that Spirit Leech? Oh. Draw from the Strigoi Ghoul King, and that will drop the Arch Lector. I didn't see him do that when I was watching this before. Nice. Meanwhile, over here, Fell Bats versus Flagellants. A silly fight. But we also do have some Crypt Horrors mixed in as well. These Flagellants, man, they just hold. Like, they're going to be really weak to ranged fire because they have no shields and they have zero armor. But the Vampires don't have ranged fire, so they got to deal with them in melee. So I think the Flagellants are a really good unit to fight against, or to use against Vampire counts. Which makes sense, because so many additions that the Empire got are specific to fight vampires. Or are really good against vampires. Though I can't necessarily say the same is true for the vampires. I mean, I guess all their new stuff works against the Empire, but the Empire stuff seems kind of focused against the vampire faction specifically. Whereas the new units and renowned units for the vampire counts are still cool, but I don't think they're necessarily geared just to fight Empire. I don't know. It's still early in this DLC, so I could be wrong. But they're just going to be kind of duking it out with these Flagellants for quite a long time. And Surreal's just like, not screaming, but he's just vocalizing his displeasure with how long it takes for these Flagellants to die. And here comes my retreating forces up the hill, running for their lives from the amount of greatswords that are still hidden in this forest. My Corpse Guard's still trying to make it out, but they are not going to. Luckily, we still have at least one of the renowned Vargheists, which is going to come into play because I will cast Invocation of the Heck when we get some Winds of Magic, and we'll try to get its numbers back up, along with this Var... Well, actually, I don't think I touched this Vargheist. I was more concerned about the Vargheist with the Renown. So over here, the Flagellants are finally being cleaned up. There is still an Empire Captain nearby as well. Actually, I guess there's still two of them up alive. Strigoi Ghoul King do what he can. I'm just kind of hanging out, regenerating. And in case you did not know, regeneration has been nerfed in this patch. Let's open this up. So this little icon shows you how much regeneration you can actually do. And you can see my Strigoi Ghoul King is almost at the end of his pool of regeneration. I can kind of understand why they nerfed regeneration. Specifically because of all the things they just recently added to give more possibilities for regeneration. I still don't necessarily like it though, Because if the vampire count player can maneuver in a way that allows him to pull his army away from the opponent, regenerate them back up to full, and then re-engage without the opponent getting to them, like if they can pull that off, then let them pull that off. I know regeneration can't be strong, but it can't be countered. And like in the meantime, you have, or like at the same time, you have the Empire getting hold the line for free. Oh, as a passive. Oh. I know, I make a big deal about hold the line, but do you understand how good expert charge defense is? It's kind of the reason why the Bretonnian infantry is as even good as it is because that they have expert charge defense. And now the Empire can grant that to anything that's around an Imperial Captain or a General, as long as they took the passive. And why wouldn't they? So strong. Meanwhile, here comes the remaining Great Swordsmen out of the forest and the Halberdiers. So that is their army, and then our army looks a little bit smaller. These flagellants are still alive, pestering Surreal.
Sorcery!
Yeah, the Great Swords just charged up the hill. There goes a fireball. I think that was added or aimed at my Strigoi Ghoul King. I have a group of my skeletal warriors who made it out of the fight, just kind of hold them off a little bit longer so we can buy time for regeneration. I have my necromancers in position for their Master of the Dead trait to proc, and then we're going to be casting Invocation of the Heck on this Vargeist to get their numbers back up. And then we're also going to be sending the Strigoi King over here to try and deal with this Imperial Captain. Luckily, we still do have some crypt cards from the necromancers that Surreal has, so that's going to be buffing our army. The Stearns Guard are still alive and mostly well. Let's check out how much regeneration they have left, because I'm sure they're pretty low. Oh no, they have 2,000 left. Okay, nice, very nice.
Dance macabre.
Dance macabre. All right, Great Swords charging in against the remaining zombies of Surreal. The Stearns Guard is going to be throwing in here. But there are still so many Great Swords. And Volkmeier is still... Actually, no, Volkmeier is dead. Oh, man, you know what? I think I just missed that. My bad. So, Volkmar charged ahead of this entire Great Sword group, and they were charging my Skeletal Warrior that was right here. I countercharged and then hit them with the Strigoi Ghoul King, I believe, and some Vargeist. And then we chased him down the hill up to this point where we finally killed him. So because he pulled out ahead of his forces, he was killed. If he stayed with his great swords, he would still be alive right now. But we were really kind of lucky here, at least on that count, to kill their leader before this fight started, because now they don't have his buffs. My bad, I was missing that when I was talking about hold the line. I'm just very angry that that's a passive now. And this is it. This is the final engagement, but we do have the buffs from the crypts, or the corpse cards. My renowned Vargeist now are back up to like 4 or 5 Vargeist in their number instead of just 1, which is really good. Stearns Guard holding off a couple of these Great Swords along with the Halberdiers. There's some beefy Grave Guard. Holy crap, they are so beefy. And that regeneration is pretty nice. I'm going to be sending my Strigoi Ghoul King off to fight the Bright Wizard, who is still alive. You can see the regeneration, little beams being procced on the Crypt Horrors here as they're fighting against these Great Swords. And without the buffs from Volkmar, their morale is actually starting to drop. And they're taking a lot of damage. And there is my Ghoul King trying to take out that Bright Wizard. It takes a long time, like way too long, to take out that Bright Wizard in a one-on-one fight. I figured the Strigoi Ghoul King on the Terrorgeist would have done it faster, but this is my first time using him. What spell is this? Oh, I think he Spirit Leeched this Imperial Captain with the Strigoi Ghoul King. Good call. And with their leadership crumbling, the line of Great Swords are actually going to shatter, which we were shocked because they had us outnumbered still. I believe they had us outnumbered according to the power bar that's shown at the top of the screen. But we were managed to snipe the remaining leaders and their army broke. If this grinded down to an all-out fight to the bitter end, I don't know. There's so many Great Swords. We did still have some Crypt Horrors around, which were doing pretty well. We may have still won anyway in a grind-out fight, but I was not expecting them to shatter that fast, which Thank goodness for us. So, good game to our opponents and to Surreal. Let's take a look at the kill count. My Strigoi Ghoul King did okay. He helped to bring down Volkmar the Grim at the very end. He did some damage to the Bright Wizard, but besides that, he didn't really do too much. I didn't utilize him really well. Necromancers did okay. They sat there with their Master of the Dead trait, which is what I wanted them to do. The Skeletal Warriors, some of them got some decent amount of kills when they're backed up by the corpse cards, so they had an increased 8 to their defense and attack, and it kind of shows, Crypt Ghoul's 56 kills is not bad. The Fellbats, I mean, like, there was really not much gunners or artillery to disrupt with them here, so they weren't really going to shine. They're not made to kill, like, infantry. They're there to disrupt guns and crossbows and artillery units, but there was really not much of that there, so they kind of were a waste. The Crypt Ghouls didn't see their full potential because they were surrounded and murdered. The Vargeist, I think they did pretty good. They lived the entire battle, which is a rarity for me. Most of my Vargeist die way before the end. And then the Corpse Carts aren't there to get kills, but I don't know. I don't know how much they contributed. They all had the Unholy Lodestone, so I had them positioned so our whole army was buffing from it, but I don't know really how good that was, because there's really no stats to show, like, okay, this much damage was inflicted because of hits granted by the Unholy Lodestone, you know, so I would really love to see just in-depth charts. Like, if you want to be that type of player, and I do, for at least for this game, I want to see it. I want to see how many hits were actually struck because of the buff from the Unholy Lodestone that would have been misses, like things like that, but that may be just way too deep to really show to players. But anyway, that's what I want to see. For Surreal, who, aka Luke Thightwalker here, we have 86 kills from his Strigoi Ghoul King, which is really good, and he Spirit Leeched a couple heroes, which is great. These zombies against the Flagellants and the Spearmen, with, I'm assuming because they had the Necromancers on those Unholy Lodestone Crypt cards, like, look at the kills they got. Yeah, I mean, these are kills against Spearmen, but, like, and also Flagellants, so, like, wow. Just 86 kills from the Tithe Zombies. What? 86 kills for the... Ridiculous, just ridiculous. Sternsguard, 173. The Blood Knights still did really well. They did manage to take out most of the Knights of the Blazing Sun in a 3v2, but because they also had help from the Dire Pack, the Dire Pack, I think, is going to be pretty good, as long as you don't let them get charged. If they come in after the charge, I think they can do really well, and it shows here they got 62 kills. A lot of those were against... some of them were against the Gunners, but then a lot of them were also against the Knights of the Blazing Sun. His Fellbats did really well, though. Holy crap. I think they were fighting against Flagellants for a long time, and they scored so many kills against them. I'm kind of shocked they did. Let's see. And the Crypt Ghoul, Crypt Horrors. Jeez. Just chewing through Flagellants left and right. Wow. So many. Let's see. For Rostov here, which is the Spearman Flagellant line, the Flagellants got a ton of kills. Spearmen got a ton of kills against the... I guess it would have been zombies, some of my Skeletal Warriors. They didn't really kill many Crypt Horrors. Yeah, they had to mostly just be all zombies that they got. And the Fellbats. Still, though, that's a ton of kills for them. Knights of the Blazing Sun managed to get a lot of kills. And they did counter the Blood Knights. Like, the Blood Knights and these Knights countered each other, so that's good. Getting Blood Knights off the field is always a good thing. And then for the Greatsword army here, it's just tons of kills across the board. Volkmar got 103 with their spells and melee. And then the Halberdiers are really good at bringing down my flank of Crypt Horrors. They surrounded them and murdered them, so that good call there. So many Greatswords. So many. And look, like, they still had a decent amount of numbers left, too. That's shattering, though. So good. But again, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Leave your suggestions below. It's probably going to be a lot of Empire and Vampire, just to show off the units of renown. Maybe. I'll probably sprinkle in other armies in there, though. Probably. But again, hope you enjoyed. Have a good day, everybody.